So today we are speaking with Philipp Römers, the new head of Audi exterior design. Welcome, Philipp, and thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Hi.
So, Philipp, you aren't really new to Audi, but as the new head of exterior design, what's at the top of your to-do list? If we got a peek into your little notebook, what would you say are the top things that you want to do now?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm with Audi since 2014.
Right.
And when we started here, I started together with Mark Lichte and the previous head of design, Andreas Wind, who moved now over to Bentley. And when we arrived here, we had the task to make the next evolution of our formal design direction. And so we did the successors of the A6, A7, A8, and also some new concepts like the Q8. And of course, these were still internal combustion engine cars, and they were changing. Of course, we changed a few striking elements, but still it was an evolutionary design process and an evolutionary design we got in. And then step by step, the world changed. We started with the e-tron in 2016 to develop this car. And this was already a big step for me. At the time, I was studio leader because we have 3 creative studios here in Ingolstadt, and I was guiding one. And in my studio, we developed the e-tron design, exterior design. And this was already a quite interesting process. And then step by step, the revolution came closer. We started with the e-tron GT, Q4 e-tron, and all these electric cars.
Right.
And now, today, we are already thinking about the next step, and this is automated driving. We showed the Grand Sphere, which was already the first big work we did together since the beginning of this year, and this shows already the next step. So at the moment, really the design world is changing completely, and of course I'm proud to be part of it.
Right. No, in fact, that's quite a nice background to how you've sort of come into the Audi system. And like you said, you mentioned your journey at Audi the electric journey began with the e-tron. Now we've seen that in India, and I had a question on that actually, Philipp. From what we understand, Audi has sort of purposely taken a more evolutionary sort of approach. You all wanted to keep, although it's an EV, you all wanted to keep a link to maybe ICE cars. Other brands maybe have gone, completely radical with the EV. So what's the strategy? What's the thinking behind this?
It's the goal to make always the most attractive and progressive design in all segments and also independent from the drivetrain. That's very important for us.
Right.
And when we started with the e-tron, we said we have to do the first full electric Audi vehicle in a segment which is which really has an impact, and this is actually the C SUV segment. And also the approach to enter up in this SUV segment was given and was important because worldwide the SUV segment, especially the C SUV segment, is quite important, and that's why we ended up with the e-tron in this segment.
Right.
And also in terms of design of how we revolutionize the design, it was for us important to grab the people, not to make them afraid of electric cars.
Mm-hmm.
So step by step, we are going more and more revolutionary, I have to say.
Right.
But I think the step we did with the e-tron was at this time correct, because it really grabbed the people's attention. It looked a little bit different in details, but it still was clearly visible as an SUV, and this was very important, I think, for the e-tron, for the first full electric Audi. And again, we show where the technique is changing. We show it also in the design, but we are always doing it for a purpose. We are not changing the design because it's now stylish to have this and that feature. We are doing it always with a purpose. And for example, our front end, which is now evolving in electric cars, we are now showing this inverted face, for example. And we are doing this for a purpose because we need less cooling. And so we had to do something with the face, so it makes sense, And but step by step, and I think we are getting more and more stronger, and I think that's the right way to go. Yeah.
Right. No, I actually I really like what you said earlier, Philip, in terms of you'll want to design cars irrespective of their powertrain, and the main intent is to just make the most attractive looking vehicle. I think I really resonate with that, because sometimes I think for the sake of being radical, people are going too radical, and there's no real connect then. So yeah, I do get that. In fact, that leads me into another question in terms of aesthetics. Like you said, the most attractive car, that's what you aim to look at. When Audi in the past, you'll have pioneered the use of lighting for design. I think, for a long part, let's go way back in history, lighting was functional. But I think Audi has really done some pioneering work with lighting for design. You've got today your matrix headlamps that do a startup sequence. It can project certain graphics. And we are coming up to the Festival of Lights in India. Actually, I don't know if you're aware of that. It's called Diwali. What can we see in Audi's future in terms of lighting? Will this continue? Will you continue looking to lights for design?
Mm-hmm. Very good question also, because there we are pioneers, like you said. Always I have in mind the C6, A6 with the LED headlights. That was really striking in the night. And always we made big jumps. And the next big jump in our light design is digital individualization. We started with it with the A3 already. The A3 has a small digital field in the lower part of the headlights, where different variants of the A3 are shown in different light signatures by different light signatures. And now with the Q4 e-tron, for example, the customer can select his own daytime running light graphic. And this is something, the digital individualization of these daytime running light signatures is for us the next big step. And of course, when we go also then towards automated driving, you think about, maybe there's a point where also the car can communicate with the pedestrians, for example, and giving warning symbols and all this stuff, and plus this digital individualization. So there are lots of things happening at the moment, and a few things we showed already, for example, in the Skysphere concept car, and also on the Grand Sphere. Maybe in the Skysphere you recognize this fully digital front end, and kind of these things we are on at the moment, and you can expect a lot of things what we are doing at the moment. Right. But we know that we are pioneers in this technical way, and we want to be ahead still.
Right. No, that's interesting. I mean, for me personally, that was something that I really liked, that, you're looked at light as an aesthetic sort of solution. And it's interesting to hear. In fact, like you said, you can use it to communicate with pedestrians. That's quite interesting. And, Philip, speaking about now let's say design in terms of global or local, now your sister brands in India, like Skoda, for example, they talk a lot about looking at regional areas and sort of tailoring styling elements, for local markets. Now, I know they are a mass market player and can afford to do that. But does Audi do that? Do you look, or is it more a global and you need to design for the world? How do you approach that?
Unfortunately, we don't have a design studio in India yet, but maybe that's one of the next steps we will see. But we have already design centers in Malibu, in California, and also in Beijing. And we are always in strong collaboration with the colleagues. We have weekly conferences together, where also via newest technologies, of course, via Google's and 3D tools, where we have really the feeling of being quite close with these colleagues together here at Audi. And we are designing everything together, and they are also collaborating. These tools are also quite close collaborating with the market and sales colleagues again. So we really grab or feel what the market wants, and we directly get this as input. And of course, we we put these in our designs. But I have to say that worldwide, I think the how to say, the taste is getting more and more closer. So there's not this big gap anymore between America, Europe, and China. It's getting closer, and it's getting closer. And I think this is something what we saw over the last years.
Correct. Yeah. And Philip, the other thing in terms of elements of design, the grill, I think, today we are seeing grills getting larger and larger. And if I remember right, I think by just sheer size, Audis have again been, I think, one of the earlier ones who adopted a larger grill. Now with EVs coming in, what do you see happening to the grill itself? Do you think that will just disappear? What's your thoughts as a lead in design?
I think the grill is quite important still, because the grill gives a face to a car. And I think when we designed the single frame for the first time in the 2000 years, Walter de Silva introduced it on the C6 at this time. Audi had really a strong face, and the face was on one level with Mercedes and BMW suddenly. So it was a quite strong design element. And then it was developed quite evolutionary, this phase. And when we started with the A8, for example, in 2017 it was, we enlarged the grille and made it even more prominent. And you are absolutely right. Then the EVs came. And of course, we said, okay, what's next now? Because we can't do fake now. But it was important still that we have a face, a strong Audi face, because there are also a lot of startups around us which came with, let's say, faceless cars. They had no history, so they had just faceless cars because they said, okay, we don't need a radiator or something, we don't need cooling areas. But we said, okay, we have to find a mixture because we still are Audi and it has to be clearly visible. And so we invented the inverted face, which you see on the e-tron GT, Q4 e-tron, and step by step, it's coming to the market on all of in all of our EVs. And so from 100 meters away, you can clearly see it's an Audi, and you see it's an electric Audi. That was important for us. But of course, it goes on, and automated driving, as I said, becomes more and more normal. Also, electric cars become more and more normal. And so we are going the next step again. And again, like Skysphere, Grand Sphere, and these concepts show the way we want to go in the future. So there will be always, because it's very important that a car is clearly recognizable as an Audi, but of course we have to evolve us. Yeah.
Correct. So I think, what you said is essentially, while the functional aspect of the grille is disappearing with an EV, it's still a identity, it's the face, right? So we will see it around. So I guess it's not going to disappear, at least not so soon. But in that sense, do you see any other elements disappearing or changing in the move to EV, Philip? Like, maybe longer bonnets or something like that. Do you see anything disappearing or changing?
I would say there's a good, the Grand Sphere we showed in Munich is a quite good example for this. As I said, the EV cars are getting the new normal, they are getting more and more standard. And now when we are developing a platform, it's really done just for the EV purpose. Correct. And of course, then automated driving comes on top. And we said already when we presented the Grand Sphere that we want to design more from inside out. And this is our new internal slogan. That means we are even more customer related, because the interior becomes more and more important when we are talking about automated driving. And now it comes to a point where we have to become creative. And I think we offered already quite good solution in the Grand Sphere show car, as the cabin growed a lot. Correct. The cowl point moved forward, but of course in a luxurious car, a mono volume is always kind of tricky because you lose the prestigious effect. And so we made this trick of the extended bonnet at the outside. It's extended into the window barrel, but the cowl point still is quite forward. We have a quite round windscreen, and this is a combination out of this huge interior space you have, and still the prestigious look you need in these classes. And I think this is something where, yeah, the viewing habits are still given, but of course by creative solutions. And I think the Grand Sphere is a good example for this.
Right. No, in fact, yes, I think what you said makes a lot of sense. You know, with EVs and the way cars are going, I think designing inside out is perhaps the way of the future.
Yes.
You know, consumers are looking more at the I guess space inside them. You know. And you know, speaking about the Grand Sphere, that was a concept that well, we all got excited about, but we are yet to see in the flesh, thanks to no motor shows and COVID around the world. You know, as a designer, is this a challenge for you to present and get out your designs? You know, is it something that bothers you? You know, or is it's better maybe?
Personal touch and with you, for example, I think is always the better way.
Okay.
Next time we meet in person. Yeah, I think we did best out of it. And I think especially our communication department is doing a good job also to translate our designs by nice pictures, by nice shows, and to translate the formal approach we had. But of course, when you look to the cars in person, it always looks completely different again, and you feel really the dimensions, the proportions, and yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, step by step, maybe next time then in person.
True. So because of this, Philipp, are you having to do anything extra because you're doing digital presentations now, like in terms of maybe extra renders or something different digitally, or is it not affecting your work?
Yeah, of course, the work itself becomes more and more digital all the way around, because we are doing a lot of home office at the moment. So we were forced to work more digital. But yeah, we're getting more and more professional in it. And yeah, that's, I think, a good process, and it's also speeding us up in a certain point. And I think there were a lot of negative aspects, of course, via Corona and COVID, but maybe this is a very small thing, maybe which was a good thing for us, because we learned to work digital. Yeah.
And speaking of digital, Philipp, you know, or maybe on more of a personal note, how do you and your team at Audi, how do you all prefer to design? Is it still pencil and paper, or do you like the new digital tools?
Yeah, that's always a good question. But always the first idea has to be done by pencil or by pen. It's so important, because you develop kind of a feeling. I'm also I'm somebody who's, yeah, really a designer from birth on, let's say. I always wanted to become a car designer, and I'm always was sketching, and I love cars, and I'm always sketching, because this is our tool, and in a small doodle you develop the feeling of a car. And of course, then we enter up in Photoshop and also in data. In data, we develop the designs. And but the first thing, the first ideation has to become or has to be on paper. And this is also something for all the Indian car designers of the future. Please sketch. That sketching is so much fun, and you develop the first ideas just by sketching. That's very important.
Right. That's a nice handy piece of advice too, Philipp. Thanks for that. So, you know, I think from what I guessed, I'm sure designers would still want the, you know, more tangible feel of a pen and paper, or a pencil and paper.
Yeah.
And also, Philipp, you know, since we're talking about designers, there are a lot of now, I think in India, a lot of upcoming and budding car designers. A lot of people want to now start getting into car design. What would be your advice to them, Philipp, in terms of, let's say, let's start with an education. Is there something specific that you need to do, you know, apart from, of course, having the skills?
Yeah, first is you need a lot of passion. You really you have to want to become a car designer. That's very important. And yeah, maybe, of course, the feeling for cars is changing a little bit. No? I'm really, yeah, I have to say I'm still a petrol head, because I was born as a petrol head. Now times are changing, but I think, yeah, you have to be with a lot of passion. You have to do it with a lot of passion, and the feeling for cars still, and also for brands. But on the other hand, it's also very important, yeah, to sketch, to be creative. And I think this combination is very important in the beginning. And yeah, it's very good that we have the internet today, because when I grew up, there were just a few magazines which you have to buy, and you have to go somewhere, and it was kind of hard to get the news stuff, you know. And today, via the internet, via Instagram, it's quite easy to see what is expected in the car design world, and what is the new stuff. And I think it's very important, yeah, to be inspired by this, but yeah, to find an own way, and yeah, please be passionate, and then go your way. And there are a lot of good schools still in the world where you can study it. I mean, I studied in Pforzheim here in Germany, which is also a well-known school for it. And yeah, there's always ways. And yeah, if you really want it, you will make it. Yeah.
You'll make it happen. True. That's true. In fact, yeah, I think, like you said, passion, I think, is what defines probably the automotive industry.
Yes.
Whether it's designing cars or the exteriors or the engines, you know. And at Audi, if I can ask you, you know, how do you lead and sort of inspire and charge up your team? Is there anything that you all do, or is it all just individually inborn, or do you all get together as a team?
I think this is part of our DNA, of a designer's DNA, to be creative and to always reflect what's new, and to find new ways. But of course, we have a strong history, and we always have to be kind of self-critical also. Are we going for the right way or not? And that's very important too, to be kind of self-critical. And I think this helps a lot. And at the end, I think the result will be that you can find some reasons why you did that and this and that. And I think that's our process, which is not bad in this case. And of course, like I said already, we can be inspired by daily life, by the internet, of course, by all the stuff we are surrounded by. So yeah, I think we will never lose good ideas. So it's part of our DNA, like I said already.
Right. Yeah. And what's the next big idea, Philipp, at Audi, if I can ask? I know you'll not be able to tell us everything, but what can we look forward to in terms of design from Audi? Is there a new stunning show car you're currently developing, or a new design language?
Yeah, I mean, as I said already, we are showing these concept cars now. This was the Skies, the Grand Sphere, and next year we will reveal another one. You can be surprised by it. And I think these show cars show more or less a direction we want to go. And also these 3 show cars will end up in a production model. And I think this production model, we were talking already in public about it. This will be a very strong car, which is a new lighthouse, I would say, for Audi. And I'm really looking forward to reveal this car in a few years. Yeah. But first, these show cars guide the way, and yeah, I'm really looking forward. Yeah.
Awesome, great. So I think, Philipp, on that note, you know, we'll end. Looking forward to the future, of course, and hopefully we'll be able to meet each other in person and see your designs in person as well. Travel and motor shows hopefully will open up soon. But thank you so much, Philipp, for the time and you know, talking to us. And wish you all the best with the road ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and I wish you also all the best too.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.